Welcome to Captain Sisay on Magic Arena. Pretty cool, right? And I'll kind of explain that here in a second. As far as our opening hand goes, we do have two lands. We have Once Upon a Time, Return to Nature, and a Johnny. Do we want to keep on this one? We don't have any ramp, and this deck definitely... yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and mulligan on, especially with it being a free mull. I know we had Once Upon a Time, but I'd really like to hit either Mana Rock or one of our sources. So at this point, yeah, we'll just go and keep on this one. We got Board the Weatherlight. We'll make this one work. Let's go and lead off with the Forest, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, welcome to some historic Brawl. Hope you're excited to have some fun today. Let's lead off with Plains and go for Board the Weatherlight. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Hopefully we can hit one of our mana. Oh, there we go. Arcane Signet. That's what we wanted to see. And then pass it over to our opponent. So we're playing Captain Sisay. Search your library for a legendary card. Reveal that card. Put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Now with a historic card, or excuse me, with a legendary card, that's going to include our legendary creatures, legendary artifacts, and it's going to include legendary planeswalkers. So, and legendary spells. So we've got some fun stuff to search up in our library for today. Playing against Kumena, which I will cover in a second. So at this point, either way, we're going to have to go for Arcane Signet. Can't get down Captain Sisay. So let's go enter the battlefield tapped on Temple Garden. That way we're not taking any life. Let's go for Arcane Signet, and then we'll pass the turn to our opponent. So playing against Kumena. Tap another untapped merfolk you control. Kumena can't be blocked this turn. Then tap 3 untapped merfolk you control. Draw a card. Then tap 5 untapped merfolk you control. Put a +1 counter on each merfolk that you control. There we go. Now, with our opponent going shields down on their mana, I really do think we want to end up going for Captain Sisay at this point. I think that's going to be good. So let's lead off with Captain's. Well, I guess technically we could go for Vivian and really start plussing up and really keep making our land drops. But we can do that. Actually, we can do that next turn, yeah. Because if they don't have an answer for Captain Sisay, if they don't have like Frogify or whatever that's called, then we're definitely going to be able to kind of just generate a ton of value. So let's go and let Kumena swing in for 2. That's going to knock us down to 23. And let's go for Forest. Now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. We do have enough mana for Lena, but I think with Lena, we actually kind of want to wait on that. So at this point right now, we can go for a Captain Sisay activation. But I really do think Vivian Reed is kind of where we want to be at, because we can +1 to keep kind of digging through stuff, and then we can keep ourselves open with Captain Sisay. So I kind of like that. So let's go +1. Look at the top 4 cards of our library and see what we've got. This is going to be Fabled Passage or Goreclaw. I think at this point, what we'll probably end up doing is just going for Fabled Passage. We make that land drop for next turn, and then anything else, let's just go and pass it back over there. Now, we might end up grabbing Traxos with Captain Sisay, because that's almost basically a free... that's a free Great Hinge, which is a very good feeling. So anything else? No, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, with Captain Sisay, they're releasing, and if you don't know about Arena, what they're slowly doing is the historic format is the cards that have rotated out of Standard. And so what they're going to be doing is kind of adding cards to this historic card pool, mainly to kind of help supplement historic, but at the same time, historic Brawl is a thing. You can see where Captain Sisay works out really well for a build like this. So that's kind of what we're having fun with at this point right now. So that's why we're getting to play Captain Sisay. So you can craft Captain Sisay right now. If you have Arena and you have a rare card, rare wild card, you can craft it and, hey, build and have some fun. So if you want to check out my deck list, there is a link down in the description below. You can see what's going on. Tap another untap, can't be blocked this turn. All right, so let's just go and go for a Captain Sisay activation. That way there's no funny business Lebowski, because we know exactly what we're going to grab. Yeah, I think we just want to go for Traxos. That's going to be a good option for us. So we're going to put that into our hand, and then pass it back over there. So it's going to be the Great Hinge. Then that's going to allow us to basically get this on the battlefield, cash in some extra card draw. Ooh, and then we hit Mind Stone. So let's lead off with Fabled Passage, because we definitely have 4 more lands. Let's grab ourselves a Plains off of this. That way we can help support some of that, our white mana that we've got in the deck. So there we go. Let's grab ourselves a Plains. And we go Traxos. And with the Great Hinge, yeah, so we're going to go Arcane Signet. Well, let's make sure we're doing this. So hold on just one sec. The auto tapper is great, but sometimes it auto taps weird for you. Okay, that's going to be Traxos coming down. We're going to let that resolve. And then we're going to go for the Great Hinge for 2 green mana. There we go. All right. That's going to give us double green mana. That's going to allow us to untap Traxos. That is a wonderful option. We still have Mind Stone to go for. And I think at this point, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Is there something that we want to pop really quick? I think what we really need to target is going to be this Guardian Project. So let's go on -3 on Guardian Project. Yes, definitely going to do that because that's going to give them a very nice consistent source of card draw, which we definitely want to stop. And we could hold on to Mind Stone, but we've got we've got 2 historic spells in the hand. So let's tap down the Great Hinge. We're going to gain 2 life. Let's have Mind Stone come down. And even if we don't need to utilize Mind Stone, what we can do is basically just use it to crack a card. And Mind Stone, that is another card that they released into the historic card pool. So not going to swing in with Captain Sisay, and then we'll pass the turn. I think they released 20 cards into the historic card pool. I'm going to be doing a video that kind of highlights, let's say that you don't play Arena that often and you're kind of limited on how many different, wild cards you may have. I'm going to be making a top 10 wild card, but for those people that are watching this video, if you want to figure out what the number 2, or at least probably the number 1 card to grab out of those 20 cards is definitely going to be Mind Stone. That's going to go in every single historic deck alongside Arcane Signet, so that's pretty cool. Now, our opponent is kind of getting a lot of good stuff going. What we might end up doing, and this does cut us off just a little bit, is we're probably going to grab Urza's Blast, because that's really going to hit the reset button on this one, and I really do like going for that. And so we might as well, if we're going to end up doing that, let's go Captain Sisay activation. Let's grab Urza. And yeah, our opponent's mainly shields down right now. And so there we go. We're going to grab Ruinous Blast. Let's go and crack Mind Stone, because it's going to get exiled anyway. Look at that art. Oh, that looks good. Looks good to see that on Arena. All right, then we run into Evolving Wilds. Let's have a Forest come down for the turn. Let's go for Urza's Blast. And that still gives us just enough for Questing Beast. All right, that's going to untap Traxos. We're going to exile all things that aren't legendary, and we're going to be able to survive off this very nicely. And our opponent's going to get hit pretty rough. So let's go Questing Beast. It's going to untap Traxos. We're going to cash in an extra card draw. Oh, yeah, we're definitely getting somewhere. And let's go ahead and swing in. We're going to swing in Questing Beast and Traxos, 2 attackers, and we're going to leave up Captain Sisay for an activation. Knock them down to 13. We did make the lane drop for the turn, so we're going to go and pass it. So the cool thing about Captain Sisay, you do want to keep in mind, it is basically this is a tutor deck. You need to spread your threats out across many different ways. Traxos is a great beater. It's a really wonderful creature to get down. In fact, we're going to search up, and there's also little lines of play you want to incorporate if you're thinking about building Captain Sisay, is you want to make sure that you have different kind of synergy lines of play to go for. So we have Traxos on the battlefield, so we're going to be searching up the Blackblade, which is going to be so flavorful to get that onto Traxos, which is very good. All right, so we've got Kumena swinging in for 4. That's going to put us down to 17. And the other little lines of play, like knowing when to go for Urza's Ruinous Blast or different things like that. So if you want to build a very interesting deck for Brawl, I highly recommend Captain Sisay. So let's find that Blackblade. Oh, no, I didn't put it in here. I'm putting it in here after this. I do apologize. I was making some changes this morning, and I added Karn, and then I got distracted doing something. So unfortunately, that is not in there. What is going to help us at this point? Yeah, that would have been a great thing to grab. So we do have Ugin that we can go for. That's going to allow us to start kind of popping some of our opponent's things. I think that's going to be a pretty good option. So let's grab Ugin, and then just so we don't have to worry about that Winged Temple, yeah, I think that would be a good option for us. So let's go ahead and cast Ugin. And that still gives us access to Conclave Tribunal, too. And that'll be good. So let's have Ugin come down. That's going to untap Traxos. All right, Poto's going to scoop it up on this one. We've got Ugin coming down. We've got the whole crew swinging in. They're not going to be able to stop Questing Beast, and then Traxos is going to get it on that one. So I will be adding Blackblade to the deck after this one, and hey, I'll catch you in the next game. All right, bye. Welcome to Captain Sisay, and as far as our opening hand goes, I like this. We've got Growing Rights, who can reveal a creature card. If we just don't get to that Circuitous route, it is going to be a very long game. Yeah, I think we need to mulligan on this one. I like this opening hand, but since we have a free mulligan, we're going to go ahead and go for it. Yes, I like this a lot better. We've got Chromatic Lantern, Gift of Paradise. We've got some good Universal Removal and Conclave Tribunal. We will keep on this one in a heartbeat. Let's go lead off with Selesnya Guildgate and have that come into play tap, then pass the turn over to our opponent. So we're playing Captain Sisay, which I will cover in a second. We have nothing for 2, so let's go and lead off with Temple Garden. No reason to take 2 life, and then we'll pass the turn. Playing Captain Sisay, search your library for a legendary card, reveal that card, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. So there we go. Let's lead off with, I think, plains, excuse me. Yeah, that'll be good. And then with Gift of Paradise, we're going to gain a little bit of life. We can put that onto the plains, and I think that'll be fine. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so we're going to go Gift of Paradise because that allows us to get a little bit ahead on mana. Same thing as going for Chromatic Lantern, so same thing basically. And then we've got Voltaic Servant swinging in for 1. That's going to knock us to, ooh, then Urza's Ruinous Blast. That is going to be very good against this deck, so we will certainly take that. Let's go Forest, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, well, we might be running into a counter spell. So let's just test it out. Let's see if our opponent's got counter magic. We'll go for Chromatic Lantern. And then now that we've kind of deployed our mana out really quick, we'll probably end up going for Captain Sisay. So that'll be pretty good. So, all right, that's going to be Traxxas coming down. Let's go Captain Sisay. Now, we can actually sequence this with a New Horizons, because if we can put that onto Forest, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's going to be just enough. So let's put it onto Forest, and then go Captain Sisay. One of the main things you want to think about with a Captain Sisay deck is that Captain Sisay, if you're new to Brawl, if you're new to Commander, Captain Sisay is definitely one of those commanders that is pop on sight. You know, as soon as you see it, you need to get rid of it if you're the opponent. And so one of the things that you want to incorporate into your Captain Sisay deck is you really want to make sure you have a lot of ramp, because you're going to need to be recasting her a lot most of the time. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. So let's do this. So we go Blossoming Sands. Either way, because that's going to be the land drop. We're going to gain a life. Let's go Conclave Tribunal on Traxos. Yeah, and we can just auto pay on this one. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so Conclave Tribunal on Traxos. Traxos is the conclave is a symbol, and there's a hey, get out of here, partner. And that's going to leave us at 3 mana. Yeah, at this point, what we'll do is we'll simply just going to go ahead and pass the turn. No attack from Sisay, and then that'll leave us open for an activation, even if they have some sort of response. Ooh, that's going to be Tezzeret. Okay, that will definitely get something out of our hand on that one. So let's go and let that resolve. We can still end up blocking Captain Sisay on Voltaic Servant, and so that's probably what we'll end up doing if they decide to swing in. So that's going to be a Thopter token, and then we'll probably end up using Ruinous Blast. I think at some point that'll be pretty good. All right, so we're going to untap target artifact at the end step. Let's go for Captain Sisay. There we go. So we could, actually, if we wanted to, we could grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to give Captain Sisay a 7/7. Then we can start to deal swinging in at Tezzeret. I think that sounds pretty good. Because, yeah, let's go. I've been talking up Blackblade the entire time, so here we go. We're gonna grab Blackblade, so we can and then Questing Beast, which is definitely going to be able to get past them. So, and the Questing Beast, that's going to be 2, and then 3. That's going to be 5. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got. So we don't have enough to go Questing Beast and a Blackblade equip. Now, if we end up going Blackblade for 3, that's going to make it Captain Sisay 7/7 with trample. They're going to have to throw the entire crew at Tezzeret to get rid of that. So I think I kind of like that. So let's go Blackblade. Yeah, because that's going to force kind of a weird block from our opponent. Let's equip for a legendary creature onto Captain Sisay. Very flavorful. Loving it. Let's go and swing into combat. Let's go ahead and have everybody swinging at Tezzeret, because I respect that card draw. I respect Tezzeret enough to where we need to keep Tezzeret off the battlefield. Oh, excuse me. I thought that... I thought that +1/+1 gave us trample. I was thinking of something else. So, Anyway, let's go and pass the turn. Yeah, with that Blackblade, man, for some reason I was thinking it gave us trample, so they're going to throw the servo token in front of it. The good thing is that it does keep them off that 0 ability, and then next turn we'll end up going for Urza's Ruinous Blast, especially them kind of going for Replicator. That's just simply just an artifact creature, and if they go shields down, that's going to be a very good option for us. Exile all non-land permanents that aren't legendary, so that's going to be very good. So kind of rebound from that little mental mistake. And if you're wondering why didn't you know it didn't have trample, I mean, I've got like 100 commander decks and like 30 brawl decks, so keeping track of every little nuance on every magic card is a little hard sometimes while delivering commentary. So that is it. So I was going to go Urza's Ruinous Blast. Now here's the only downside: that does give them Traxos back, which if we're not super wild about. Now we also do have a completely free swing in with Questing Beast too, because there's just a bunch of 1/3s. And that's going to be a pretty good chunk of damage at our opponent. Now, that does put them into Tezzeret range if they hit the land drop for next turn, which is interesting. So we go Urza's Blast. That's going to get rid of everything on that side of the battlefield. That's going to give them Traxos back, which I guess technically we can kind of find an answer to deal with Traxos. Or we can just, yeah, I really like getting rid of a lot of these creatures, so yeah, let's do that. We're going to go for Urza's Ruinous Blast. Exile everything that is not legendary. That's going to get rid of Chromatic Lantern. We actually... Oh, we should have tapped that down. I'm sorry. I've been recording a bunch of games back-to-back this morning, and so had we tapped down Chromatic Lantern, that would have allowed us to go for Questing Beast. So, but we're going to try to bounce back from that. One of the main things that we've done in this deck is we've cut Tezzeret off artifacts. Tezzeret wants a lot of artifacts, and that's going to be really hard for them to stop that, or at least get the value train going with that ability. So we've really kind of, at least kind of stopped them for their game plan. And, you know, the fact that our opponent's got a 7/7 Traxos out there, we got Captain Sisay that can sit back on blocking duty as an 8/8, which is a pretty good feeling. So that's going to be Mystic Forge coming down. Yeah, I do apologize about those misplays. I don't enjoy doing that, but sometimes that does happen. So if we go Goreclaw first, they're going to cost 2 less. That's going to be just enough for Questing Beast. I think that'll be good. Now, we can't swing in past our opponent. Yeah, let's do that. We'll end up doing that because we can actually make a pretty nice little alpha swing next turn. And then getting Questing Beast for 2 is probably a pretty good feeling, I'm going to say. So we have that come down. Let's go Questing Beast for 2. And I think at this point what we'll do is we'll simply just pass the turn to our opponent because we've got Captain Sisay for an activation. Not going to swing in. Yeah, because Traxos does have trample, so we just want to keep kind of keep Traxos at bay at this point right now. And then once we go for a Captain Sisay activation, what we can do is, since we are playing it's a heavy artifact deck, we might end up grabbing Nissa, and that's going to allow us to at least get rid of Traxos and kind of clear the way for us to start swinging in, especially with this Goreclaw +1/+1 and everybody games trample. That's going to be our entire board state once we do decide to swing in. So I think that'll end up working out, especially with our opponent trying to rebuild their artifact board state. That Urza's Blast was such a good thing to rip into, and that's what makes this Captain Sisay deck so fun, is that you can get this, and when you have a one-sided board wipe in Brawl, it is very good. So all right, so we're going to see Jhoira's Familiar come down, but at this point with them being tapped out, I feel pretty good about that. So we'll wait for them to exile the top card of the library. We're going to wait for them to pass it, stop at the end of the turn, because we want to make sure that we're going to be able to go for a Captain Sisay. And then there we go. All right, so we're going to go Captain Sisay activation. Search your library for a legendary card. That feels pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I think we just ended up going Vivian. Because with that Vivian, that's going to be a -3 on Traxos, and that just really clears the way for us. So let's have Field of Ruin come down. Grow from Ashes for 5. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. So let's just go for Vivian Reed. We're -3 on Traxos. There we go. It's going to pop Traxos. And let's go ahead and swing in with the entire crew. Yeah, that'll be good. And we're going to get the Goreclaw trigger. Oh, look at that. So we've got 20 coming across. It's going to knock them down to 4. And they do have enough mana to go for Tezzeret. That is something that we do want to keep in mind, because that's going to be a Tezzeret activation for at least 4 right now. That's going to drain us for 4, put them back up to 8. but that's going to be a pretty big chunk of their turn for Tezzeret. So we'll see if we can still squeeze this one out, because basically with Questing Beast only having a 2/2 out there, and then Shauna, and then getting the trample from Goreclaw, that's going to be a pretty good option for us to close the game out. So that's what we're going for. And that's going to be Workshop Elders. Artifact creatures you control have flying at the beginning of combat on your turn. You may have target non-artifact creature because it's 0 if you put 4 counters on it. Okay, so that was a... Oh, and excuse me, that's what it is. I was like, how did they get that out so cheaply? But creature and planeswalker spells, you have affinity for artifacts, so that's a pretty good little option. So we got a 4/4 globe out there now. And with Ugin, all right, they're definitely going to swing in Vivian at Jhoira. All right, that's going to knock down Jhoira, but that does help us out by not having a blocker out there. So let's go Ugin, because we can pop that Workshop Elder. And I think that should be good game, I think. We'll see. All right, so let's go for the -1. We're going to destroy that Workshop Elders. That's basically just going to leave a 4/4 out there. And let's swing in with the entire crew. Everybody's going to swing in at our opponent because they can only block on 1 creature. And there we go. Everybody's going to get +1/+1 and gain trample. So that be, yep, there we go. Should be the game on that one. And you can see where Blackblade finally found it. Going to be able to close it out. So good game to our opponent. I definitely could have played this game a lot tighter. We could have got Questing Beasts out there a little bit quicker. We could have a couple of different lines of play. But when you're delivering commentary while playing the game, little mistakes like that happen. And the main thing is in Magic is that you bounce back from your mistakes. And we did. So we got the win. Good game to our opponent. It's really nice to see Tezzeret. I love Tezzeret if you don't know, and so it's always fun to see different builds like that. So anyway, I'll see you in the next game. All right, bye. Welcome to Captain Sisay. As far as I hope you're ready to board the Weatherlight. That's what we're doing today. And as far as our opening hand goes, we've got 3 lands, Chromatic Lancer and the Great Hinge. Yeah, this is fine. You know, we've got a mana rock that's going to allow us to kind of power out Captain Sisay pretty quick. And we've got Settle the Wreckage, which is basically kind of like a board wipe. So we'll definitely keep on this one. And Lena, working towards the late game. I really enjoyed this card. It is very situational. You need to kind of get it set it up to late game. But when you get it down late game, in addition to something with like Growing Rights of Itlamok, oh goodness, that is a wonderful Magic feeling. Let's go ahead and crack Fabled Passage and grab ourselves a oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. I think I've seen that before. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. Let's go Plains, and then we'll pass the turn over to our opponent. So we're playing Captain Sisay. Activated ability. Search your library for a, let's go, Field of the Ruin enters the battlefield untapped, so either way we're fine. So let's lead off with Force and then pass the turn. Playing Captain Sisay, activated ability. Search your library for a legendary card. Reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Playing against Jhoira. Whether like Captain, whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. So, pretty cool. Let's go for Field of Ruin. Let's go... What we'll do is we'll see if our opponent taps out for Jhoira, and then we'll go for Prison Realm on Jhoira just to get that commander tax going. That'll be pretty good. So, cast a historic spell, draw a card. So we did cover both commanders. It is officially free time. Let's have some fun. I've been enjoying playing Captain Sisay a lot, very much recently. It's a very fun commander. It's very nice to look at Jhoira. There she goes. Okay, and that's going to be a Mox Amber, which is probably one of the best things you can cast into an open Captain Sisay, or cast into an open Jhoira, I should say. Let's do this. Let's go for Prison Realm on Jhoira. If they don't have the land drop, oh, they've got Negate. Okay, that's fine. It's worth it a shot. And so now here's the downside. Every time they cast an artifact, they're going to be able to cash in a card draw, and that's going to be pretty brutal. So, in fact, this reminds me, I need to build Jhoira. Especially in this historic format, that's going to be pretty good. So they're going to get the double scry. Now, as far as our game plan, we do have to watch out for counter magic. We're going to be trying to go for Captain Sisay next turn. And oh, look at this. They're going to be getting a ton of artifacts going. And with them being completely tapped out, I think that'll be pretty good. Now, what we might end up doing... No, because an artifact... If we can find Cleansing Nova, that would really help out. But yeah, at this point, we really need to go for Captain Sisay. All right, so we're going to go Captain Sisay. It's going to enter the battlefield. That will allow us to... Oh, they've got Tails in. Whew. Oh. That stings the nostrils. Okay, all right, so we've got Corridor Monitor coming down, Jhoira, and the servo. Sometimes you've got it, you've got it. and then you just go full speed ahead. So, and then plus, just casting your normal, and this is where incremental card draw off of what you're normally going to do. Let's say our opponent's commander was Saheeli, just simply being able to cast a non-creature spell and have something tag along with it. So basically, every time our opponent casts a spell, they're getting 2 extra value units, and that's going to be a card draw, and that's going to be a servo token on the battlefield. And so that is just very, very crazy to deal with sometimes, and especially at a point right now where we basically need to put ourselves in a position to where we can find Cleansing Nova. That's going to be about it, or maybe Urza or something like that. But yeah, either way, it's not looking so hot for us at this point right now. And I do have 2 mana active. This is going to be our only land drop for the turn. That's going to be Blossoming Sands. We gain a life. I guess at this point we can leave up Settle the Wreckage, but that's really going to help them propel any sort of stuff on their side of the battlefield. So I guess at this point, I think we just go Traxos, because that puts us on the Great Hinge, and that allows us to potentially go for Kamal next turn to maybe kind of build up some sort of board state. We're thinking a few turns ahead. We still are at 20 life. The game's not over. But, once you get a lot of card draw going, it's definitely hard to... All right, the Nexus of Fate. Okay, so they're going to be taking an extra turn after this one. We'll go and let them roll through this turn, and then I'll jump into commentary if they've got something good to show. Okay, so our opponent has basically assembled the Power Rangers of historic advantage in this deck. We've got the Artificer's Assistant, which is a wonderful card. They've got Mishra's Self-Replicator, so whenever you cast a historic spell, pay 1 mana to make a copy of it. We're going to let this play out, but I mean, at this point, this is, if you're keeping score at home, you can check the box of, oh no, this is bad. And let's see, do they have that? Yeah, look at all the triggers that tag along. So basically they've gone from a 2 for 1 at the beginning of the game to like a 5 for 1, which is pretty good feeling, because now they can keep paying for each self-replicator trigger. Oh goodness, this is I'm digging this. Yeah, this is Jhoira. You'll definitely be seeing Jhoira sometime in the near future, because the cool thing about Jhoira is, she's good enough to get an artifact spell. I mean, historic spell to get the card draw. But as the card pool expands with Jhoira, you have access to a lot more artifacts. That's what makes the deck a lot better. So I got our opponent swinging in. That's going to put us all the way down to 2. And that's going to be, hey, good game to our opponent. We're just going to go and scoop this one up, because there's not much we can do about this one. We could even try to Val, but that is not going to get anything done. So good game to our opponent. If you're a fan of Jhoira, hey, you've got some starting points to build your own deck. I'll see you in the next game. All right, bye.